The British colonization of Nigeria formalized in 1914 with the amalgamation of the Northern and Southern Protectorates, laid the foundation for many of the problems the country faces today. The British ruled Nigeria through a system of indirect rule, relying on traditional authorities and maintaining regional differences between the North, East, and West. The amalgamation was an administrative convenience for the British, but not necessarily a union rooted in the interests of the Nigerian people. They exploited Nigeria's resources, particularly oil, cocoa, and palm products, without developing the nation's infrastructure for the benefit of the people. Colonial rule entrenched ethnic and religious divisions by treating the northern, eastern, and western regions as separate entities, thus sowing the seeds of future political discord. More importantly, the colonial system created an elite class of Nigerians who were more loyal to their British masters than to the people they governed. This divide-and-rule policy ensured that when the British eventually left, they passed on not a united nation but a deeply fractured one. The scramble for power after independence in 1960 reflected this reality. Nigeria's independence on October 1, 1960, came with immense hope. Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, the first president, represented the aspirations of a new generation of African leaders eager to lift their nations from colonial subjugation. However, the euphoria of independence soon dissipated. The First Republic, from 1960 to 1966, was marked by ethnic tension, corruption, and political violence. Leaders from the three dominant ethnic groups, the Hausa Fulani in the north, the Igbo in the east, and the Yoruba in the west, vied for power, often prioritizing their regional interests over national unity. The first coup in 1966, which ended with the assassination of Prime Minister Sir Abubakar Tafawa Balewa, marked the beginning of military intervention in Nigerian politics. This coup set a dangerous precedent for the militarization of politics and the disruption of democratic governance. The subsequent counter-coup and the Biafran War from 1967 to 1970 devastated the country, leading to millions of deaths and deepening ethnic divisions. From 1966 to 1999, Nigeria was predominantly under military rule, save for a brief period of civilian governance from 1979 to 1983. The military regimes, starting with General Yakubu Gowon, then Murtala Mohammed, Olusegun Obasanjo, Ibrahim Babangida, Sani Abacha, and others, did little to build a stable, prosperous country. Instead, these leaders entrenched corruption and economic mismanagement. General Gowon, who led Nigeria during the Civil War, presided over a country recovering from immense devastation. Despite the oil boom in the early 1970s, which could have transformed Nigeria's economy, mismanagement and corruption led to widespread poverty and inequality. Successive regimes failed to invest in infrastructure or diversify the economy, relying solely on oil exports. The military regime of General Babangida, from 1985 to 1993, stands out as one of the most damaging in terms of Nigeria's economic trajectory. His adoption of the Structural Adjustment Program, imposed by the International Monetary Fund, devalued the currency, increased foreign debt, and impoverished the middle class. SAP was meant to liberalize the economy, but in the context of a corrupt and inefficient government, it led to the collapse of local industries and increased poverty. The Abacha years, from 1993 to 1998, were characterized by brutal repression, the looting of state coffers, and international isolation. Abacha's regime siphoned billions of dollars from the Nigerian treasury, funds that were meant for national development. His dictatorship left Nigeria more impoverished and divided, with a fragile political structure. The return to democracy in 1999 with Olusegun Obasanjo's election as president was seen as a turning point for Nigeria. Obasanjo, who had previously ruled as a military head of state, was expected to reverse years of military misrule. His administration from 1999 to 2007 introduced reforms in the banking sector, telecommunications, and anti-corruption through the establishment of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, or EFCC. However, while some progress was made, systemic corruption and the failure to address fundamental issues like infrastructure, education, and healthcare persisted. Obasanjo's successors, Umaru Musa Yar'Adua, Goodluck Jonathan, and Muhammadu Buhari, have struggled to lift the country out of its economic and political quagmire. Yar'Adua's tenure from 2007 to 2010 was cut short by illness, and while he made some strides toward improving governance, his short rule did little to address the root causes of Nigeria's challenges. Goodluck Jonathan, who served from 2010 to 2015, inherited a country plagued by insurgency, particularly the rise of Boko Haram in the northeast. His government was criticized for its slow response to the insurgency and widespread corruption, most notably in the petroleum sector. The massive looting of funds meant for defense allowed Boko Haram to grow stronger, further destabilizing the country. The election of Muhammadu Buhari in 2015 was seen as a potential game-changer. Buhari, a former military ruler, campaigned on promises to fight corruption and defeat Boko Haram. While some successes were achieved, particularly in reducing the territorial control of Boko Haram, Nigeria's economic problems worsened. The collapse of global oil prices in 2016 sent the country into recession, exposing the dangers of over-reliance on oil. Under Buhari's leadership, poverty and unemployment soared, with many criticizing his administration for its inability to create jobs or attract foreign investment. Nigeria's current situation is the product of decades of poor leadership, ethnic and religious divisions, and a failure to capitalize on its immense potential. While colonialism planted the seeds of division, post-colonial leaders have done little to unite the country or build a strong, diversified economy. Corruption, economic mismanagement, and the prioritization of personal or regional interests over national development have left Nigeria a country rich in resources, but impoverished in governance and opportunity. The future of Nigeria depends on fundamentally restructuring its political and economic systems. True federalism, with power devolved to the regions, could address ethnic tensions and ensure more equitable development. Moreover, investment in education, infrastructure, and healthcare is essential to unlocking the potential of Nigeria's young population. Without bold leadership willing to tackle these challenges head-on, Nigeria's situation will worsen, leaving its people to bear the brunt of decades of misrule.